So the NBA has a Joel Embiid problem. And you could rename this video the NBA has a Kawhi Leonard problem. And it would still have the same effect. Joel Embiid is a huge issue. He is the face of the load management. And the one thing I'll always say with Joel Embiid is like, it's not necessarily his fault because sometimes he's actually injured. But there is nobody that seems to give less of a damn about playing basketball other than like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons isn't as good and is at the like top 5 player in the world level. And that's where the issue is when it comes to Joel Embiid, is that the guy comes out and says like it's nothing. Like it means nothing. I'm not playing a back-to-back the rest of my career. And by saying that, you put the NBA in a horrible, horrible place where they're like, we got to do something about this. It's like, okay, if you're not going to do it, fine. You can't just say it. You can't just say it. Because that literally means he has basically said, I'm going to just pick and choose when I play. So you have basically now told the fans that I may or may not play any given game. So, if you're going to come to Philly to watch me play, I might not play. I just might not play. Not that I mightn't play if I'm injured, and if he's injured, fair enough, but I just might not play. And the reality of the situation is that we have not seen somebody load manage while playing major minutes and it be effective. We have seen guys load manage by lowering their minutes and it be effective, like Grant Hill later on in his career at times. And to be fair, he actually he managed to load up his minutes. But we have never seen somebody load manage and still play major minutes in games and it work out well. Because the reality is that whatever about the back-to-backs, it is putting 40 minutes of NBA basketball on your body, or 35 minutes on one night, and then taking the next night off, is still going to be more wear and tear on your body than playing 25 minutes one night and 25 minutes the next night. The problem is Joel Embiid will never do that because it will affect his stats. It will affect his counting stats. And that's the issue with this whole thing, is that as a fan, if you go to a game to see a player, and the player, and the player's like, it's on a back-to-back, he's only playing 20 minutes tonight, you're not going to feel like you didn't get your money worth. If you're a fan, you go to a Premier League game, and Pep Guardiola, his team plays so many games that he rotates them, and you're out there to watch Erling Haaland play football, and Erling Haaland starts on the bench. You're okay because you're like, okay, Erling Haaland, he's going to play. They're going to put him on. Like, it's not the end of the world, because these players in other sports, if they're resting, they're put on the bench, or they're taken off, you're playing too many minutes, we'll take you off after 55 minutes of the 90 to keep your body safe. But you don't see these players being like, oh, we're playing too many games, we're out of the squad. And then there are less of these type of injuries in basketball because these players overload when they play and then think that resting is going to help. It's not. Yes, it's going to be better off it's more than likely going to be better off if they take a night off, if their body can't handle playing 40 minutes. But don't do it in the first place. And that's the Embiid problem. That is the Embiid issue, is now that, and they're increasing their likelihood of picking up injuries because of an insistence on counting stats. I can guarantee you, Joel Embiid, if he decided during the season, instead of load managing, if he just said, you know what, I'm going to play 25 minutes a night in the regular season. I'm just going to play 25 minutes a night in the regular season. His stats will be down. His counting stats will be down. He might not be an all-star. But I could guarantee you the Sixers win more games. And he's in better shape for the playoffs than what he's doing right now. And I can guarantee you he's injured for the playoffs. I can guarantee you. The guy who's like, I'm not playing back-to-backs. I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. Because his body can't handle the load of individual... Realistically, his body just can't handle the load of an NBA season. And that's fine. And the load management stuff, playing certain games, not playing certain games, has been proven not to work. It's not worked for anybody. Taking random games off has not worked for anybody. And I understand if in April take a few games off after you don't make the playoffs. That's different. That's different. It is what it is. That's just getting rest, making sure you don't get hurt in those games as much as anything. But saying I'm never playing back-to-backs or I'm only playing X amount of games for the season, it's not worked ever. And it's not going to work for Joel Embiid. And not only that, it's a horrible thing for game-going fans. And if it does work, the scariest thing for the WNBA, or sorry, not WNBA, the NBA is if this does work. It is the biggest fear of the NBA is the Sixers being good. Why is it the biggest fear for the NBA is the Sixers being good? If the Sixers are good, you know what that means? More are going to do it. I'm confident enough it's not going to happen because we've seen Kawhi try to do it. We've seen players try to do it. Like, the reality is that a player who is picking up a lot of niggling injuries, and like last year someone went through his knee, like Joel Embiid, it was a freak injury. But like a player that does have these recurring injuries, we've seen it in other sports, by the way. Like, we're fans of other sports. There are players that are like this in other sports that playing a game and resting for 2 weeks or resting for a week and then like limiting how many games they play does not work. It doesn't work in other sports. We've seen it. I think easing into it can work. Like players that for a while coming off the bench, playing 20 minutes a night for weeks at a time and then kind of easing their way back into it, that can work. But what Joel Embiid is planning to do for the rest of his career, it's not going to work. And it's not going to work. It's going to be a bad product for the Sixers. He's not going to be good in the playoffs. It's just not going to be a positive for, honestly, for Philadelphia. So, yeah, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much it. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Joel Embiid, it's a non-issue? Do you guys think that what he's doing, like he should keep doing it? And if you're a Sixers fan, I'm just putting it out there. Do not expect Joel Embiid to suddenly be healthy in the playoffs this year. Don't expect it. Like, and don't expect that, and don't expect to make the playoffs. Joel Embiid playing 25 minutes a night, you guys are fine. You guys are fine. Because Joel Embiid can still give you 23 points in 25 minutes a night. Joel Embiid playing 50 games this year. Playing when he feels like it. Not playing back-to-backs. Just random, every now and again, just saying, I'm not going to play. One, it's not going to make your team better. And two, it's going to be a horrible look for the NBA that one of the 5 best players in the world is just saying, nah, I don't feel like it. And three, it sets the precedent now that other players can do it. If Joel Embiid's allowed to do it, like the Sixers got fined, you can't stop a player from doing it, but it sets a precedent now. Other players are going to do this, and I'm telling you, it's just bad all around.